I wanted this abalone so bad. I talked to God about it every day. I lived on the cliffs in California, and I wanted one, but I was not old enough to be a diver and didn't have enough money to buy gear. So I did what I could do, and that's talk to God. Dear God, please let me grow up fast so I can dive. And God said, he probably wanted to say, you know, you can only grow just so fast, right? But every day I asked him, please let me have this. And guess what? I'm sitting on the cliffs, and the waves had quieted down. Sometimes California waves go to sleep, and they get very still in August. And you can climb way down on the cliff. But you have to be careful, because a rogue wave can form out of the ocean. It's bigger and faster than all the other waves. And you're sitting there like this on a rock looking very pretty. And all of a sudden a rogue wave just snatch you off and take you out. So we back off a little. So I was backed off from the ocean. Oh, dear Jesus. Hey, mine's bigger than yours. I heard those words. I thought, what? I looked, two divers. They looked like 18, 19-year-old boys. And they popped up and they faced each other. And right between them, they had an inner tube with a net hanging down in it. And they had something in their hands and they threw it in there into that little bag. And the other guy said, I'm going to get one that's so much better than yours. The other guy said, try it. I thought, oh, dear Jesus, what are they getting? Then I heard the word abalone. I thought, they're getting abalones. Why am I stuck on this rock? And I complained a little. And God said what he says to me a lot of times. Shh, and look closer. This is dive language for look closer, because you can't talk down there. Put your fingers to your eyes and then point at whatever you want your buddy to look at. I want you to look at this. Now, follow my directions. We're swimming together, and I want you to look at something. I'm going to give you the sign. How many people looked at her? Rather, you looked at me for quite a while. But that's how we talk. So, looking closer, well, the boy threw it. He says, you know, Sally, I told him my name. He said, would you like to see the abalone? I said, sure. So I climbed down the rocks a little bit, and I slipped on a big piece of California kelp, which is a giant seaweed that grows up to be 200 feet tall. And it can lay on the water for 100 feet. And it can grow 2 feet a day. It's so fast. It has those nice little leaves that are so slick. And abalones like to eat those leaves. Now look, I wanted it bad. And this boy said, if you want this, I'll throw you one, but you gotta move. So I stepped aside. You know men are good. They can throw stuff. And when they throw it, it gets there. When I throw it, it might go somewhere, but not necessarily where I try to get it, right? It's just something God gave to men. And they've got it when they're very young. And so he took a hold of this, and he decided where he wanted to throw it, right in the tide pool at my feet. And he flung it, it landed in there. It looked like a rock. I couldn't really see as it was flying through the air. But when it landed in the tide pool, he said, go get it, go get it. And I thought, where is it? I couldn't see where it was because it looked like the other rocks in the tide pool. I had to climb down in there. It was very embarrassing to get all wet. I had nice, neat clothes on. My hair was all combed nice. And I got down in there and I thought, ew, I hope a crab doesn't get my fingers. Ooh, I hope a fish doesn't swim by me. But I finally found it, and I lifted it up, and I held it up, and he said, that's the most gorgeous animal. You will love it. I said, animal? Because I don't handle animals I don't know. Every animal has a what? That can bite you. A mouth, of course. And I didn't know where the mouth was because I couldn't see. It didn't have any legs, didn't have any arms. It didn't have any eyes. It didn't have a nose. What kind of animal is this? And the boy said, it's a mollusk. It's a snail. It can't bite you, I promise. Listen, I know. It has to be able to bite. How does it eat? And it's like he read my mind. He said, oh, it won't hurt you, I promise you. So I thought, okay, I'll hold it. And he said, isn't it wonderful? Isn't it beautiful? And I thought, I'm not really seeing it. It looks kind of like a rock to me. And the other boy said, oh, you didn't take the animal out. She can't see the rainbow. Rainbow, I thought. I want to see the rainbow. And the big boy said, hey, I'll help you. You can get the animal out and you can see the rainbow. And I thought, Ooh, it looks kind of slimy. Ooh, I don't know. But he just went right on giving me instructions. Hold it in your left hand, hold it to the side, brace your leg. I thought, why do you do that? Is this thing going to jump out at me and bite me or something? He said, don't worry, I promise it won't hurt you. And he said, get your shoulders up, turn your face like it's going to be something, whoa, because it is. And he said, make a claw with the right hand and just turn your head and plunge your fingers in deep. As soon as it gets into the slimy thing, scream. That's how I knew he had sisters. Screaming is the best thing anytime you're scared. I use it all the time. It works very good. Makes me stronger. I don't know why guys don't figure that out, but we know, don't we, girls? And as soon as my fingers touched that slimy thing, I screamed above the waves, and I dug it out. It was attached tight. I dug it out, and it was all under my fingernails. I said to God, why do you make so much slime in the ocean? And he said, shh, and look closer. I said, I know, but ooh. And I threw the animal down into the tide pool, and I tried to wash the slime off. You know, it doesn't come off with water very good. Of course it wouldn't. Otherwise it'd dissolve away in the sea, wouldn't it? And I was rubbing it and trying to get rid of it, and that's when I noticed it really has a rainbow in it. I thought, where did all those colors... Oh, you want to see? Where did all those colors come from? Hidden in the sea. Do you notice something about the abalone? You know that a clam has two sides, don't you? One side protects this side, the other is called a valve. Right and left valve. And it protects the animal, and there's no other side. How does this animal stay safe? And God said, you know how? It's against the rock. It has a huge suction cup right against that rock, and it's not going anywhere. And even a big wave can't pull it off. And he says, if you study this, you'll find many things about the abalone that you'll like, besides the rainbow. And so I thought, wow, iridescent peacock colors in the ocean. How does he do that? Well, guess what? I noticed something. And then the boy said, I guess you like it, don't you? I said, oh, it's wonderful. And they said, look, we're going to go get some more. You keep that one. And I've had this since I was 14. They disappeared under the ocean, and I watched them argue every time they came up as to who had the best one. But it was worth all their trouble out there, wasn't it, to get these things. Now look, if you look on the back side, see this gray-brown stuff? That's called periostracum, or skin. It camouflages the animal so that it can hide among the rocks and its enemies won't notice it. And guess what I saw, and I'll let you see. See this? A little bit of what? Color coming through. And I thought, I wonder if you could take the skin off. Now, I know you don't look better without your skin. The reason I know that is because I'm a nurse, and in the hospital I've seen skin off. And it oozes and it bleeds but this, watch this, it's different. This is calcium, like your teeth. Fancy, we don't have rainbow colored teeth. Probably a good idea, but they may think of that, you know, now they want you to bleach your teeth, maybe later they want you to color them, I don't know. But don't be too surprised if your generation comes up with something like that. That's different. Your kids will do it. Everybody's, well, they paint their hair. Why wouldn't they want to think of painting their teeth? Blue, red, yellow, you know. Ew, I'm sorry I got that idea. All right, now if you do take the skin off, you're going to see more, because the closer you look at God's stuff, the better it looks, right? Are you ready? Give me the dive sign for look closer. Everybody? All right. That's what it looks like without its skin. You see, it's all, the Song of Solomon says, Jesus is altogether lovely, and so is the abalone. It's a picture of our Jesus. Now I want to tell you one secret. There's many secrets. This abalone lives in Papua New Guinea, and I purchased it and had the man strip the skin off. See the soft muted colors inside? The other one's a little different. Every abalone is different, but they all have the color. Do you know what's happening here? There's no color in the shell. But I see it, don't you? How is that possible? It's a miracle. You see, this is where the animal attaches to the shell. It's called the scar. And that's usually, look at this one, that's usually the busiest, most colorful spot. Where on Jesus is the most beautiful mark of all? Yes, and you're going to put your finger on that scar someday, aren't you? And it's going to remind us that he saved us and loves us. The scar is. But you see what's happening here? It feels smooth, but it's not. There are thousands of tiny little microscopic pillars sticking up, like when you have goosebumps. And every one of them is different color, shape, size. And because they're different, it makes a different color. So, if they were all the same, it would be all one color. But they're all different. That's why this class is so good, because every one of these kids are different. So we need them all. What if somebody didn't like their pillar and they left? Or somebody broke it off? You would have a blank spot, wouldn't you? You're all important. And being different is what God likes. That's what makes the abalone pretty. I wouldn't go down and see this if it was just all, say, blue. Blue is nice, but this is better, isn't it? This is the way God likes it. In heaven, I think abalones will still live on the rocks. But, because that teaches us to cling to Jesus, the rock of our salvation. But I think they'll be skinned, because they won't have to hide anymore. They will just be beautiful. There'll be no reason for them to hide, will there? They'll be like jewels all over the cliffs. Won't that be great? And you can go by and see them anytime you want. This is a picture of our Jesus, because he said, I and my own self can do nothing. I'm just reflecting God's love to you. And that's what the abalone does. There's no color of its own. It gets the beauty from the sunlight. Is that a miracle shell or what?